we will have fairly detailed coverage with respect to some key points which you are having in mind. I'll cover the contents of the call letter. I have it from the previous year's call. So I'll just discuss that also, some important parts. It's important that we pay attention to those things. The application form, some of you had mentioned that they are not able to locate on the website of NPCIL. Of course, I don't have the login, so obviously I can't access that part at all. I have one of the old application forms. I think it's 2021 version, but they have not been changing it. I'll show it to you. I'll share it on the screen, and I'll also include in the folder related to NPCIL the link for which I'll be mailing to all of you, those who have filled up the details in the Google Forms. They'll receive the link. Obviously, you have received the invitation. Only the reason why you received the invitation is because you have filled up the details in the Google Form. So same mode of sending that information will be adopted for sending you the information related to NPCL also. The PPT which I'm using, more or less the contents will be available to you in that shared folder. So you don't really have to worry. At best, you may require 1 or 2 slides to be, you can take screenshots if you want to, but otherwise even the contents of those slides also will be available in the folder by way of a PDF. I will also try to share the transcript of 2 or 3 students who have shared their NPCIL interview experience. That is just to give you an idea about how it proceeds, right? Language usually is not a problem in case of NPCIL interview, because that is one question which is disturbing a number of you. Sir, can I speak in Hindi? Can I speak in mix of Hindi and English? The answer is yes, you can speak in mix of Hindi and English. There is no problem about it, right? Very few PSUs insist on speaking only in English. Majority of the PSUs will permit you to use mix of Hindi and English, so you don't have to worry at all. All right. So with that background, I'll just get going. Obviously, I'll be sharing the slide. Even if I don't use the presentation mode of the slide, still I'll try to cover as much as is possible to be covered on the screen, so that it becomes visible to you. I am using an alternate device so that I can keep seeing whether anything that I'm sharing on the screen is visible or not. So right now, for example, I'm not using the presentation mode. I'll try to expand it, but no, it may not get covered. Yes, here we are. I think this is what I can do without even going to the presentation mode. So without going to the presentation mode, we can cover it all. Okay. So when we talk about NPCL interview, the most important part of NPCL interview is your subject knowledge. What subjects we should prefer to prepare, we'll discuss for each of the 4 branches: electrical, mechanical, civil, and electronics and instrumentation, right? Start your preparation from basics and have some idea about applications. There are no derivations, incidentally, in NPCL interview. But yes, they can ask you about what are the parameters required for designing X, Y, Z, whatever be the area, depending on your branch. There may be passing reference to your BTech project and the summer internship which you might have undergone. In some institutes, it is a 6 week, 4 weeks, or 6 week long summer internship after the end of second year or third year. In some institutes, it's a complete semester as a substitute for the project work. So handle it the way your institute has the curriculum designed. If you didn't have any project work, and if they ask you what was the title of your BTech project, you can always say, without really having to worry, you can simply say, sir, project work was not mandatory as a part of our course curriculum. Instead of project, we had to undergo a semester-long training in industry. I went for the semester-long training to Hero MotoCorp, XYZ, whichever organization you went. But that means you will be expected to have some knowledge about that industry, right? When I come to about yourself, I'll try covering these details in the form of some a little more details. Hobbies and interests are not likely to play any significant role in your interview, neither in the interview nor in your selection. But nevertheless, for completion, I'll just play a clipping, 15-20 minute long clipping, where the aspects related to hobbies can be looked at by you, right? But the last line on this slide, is the most important line. Do not bluff while answering. There is no harm if you don't answer a question. But when I say don't answer a question, does not mean that you just keep a finger on your lips. No, it doesn't mean that. You can simply say, sorry, sir, I don't. And that's more than acceptable. That will be more than acceptable to them. They will not worry. They will not worry. If you don't know the answer to a question and you're saying it in as many words, sorry, sir, I don't know, it's perfectly fine. They'll be pretty happy to listen to that. But if you do something like this and leave it to their imagination that what you're trying to convey is, I don't know, well, I think it's better that you speak these many words. Sorry, sir, I don't know. There is an alternate syntax for this. Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall. Sir, I have studied this, but I'm not able to recall. And there is a third alternative also. Supposing they start asking questions from a particular subject which you have not prepared at all. Obviously, your answer to the first question is, sorry, sir, I don't know. The second question, again, sorry, sir, I don't know. But when they continue in the same subject, then you can say, sir, I'm sorry, but I have not revised this subject. However, I have revised this subject. Give the name of an alternate subject which is relevant for your branch. That is something which you will have to do by design. Okay. The coverage, as I said, we'll touch upon the preferred dress, entry, exit, greeting, possible flow of questions, and what to prepare for subjects. As a matter of fact, I think what I'll do is I'll save on the time for the first 3 parts or the first 2 parts. I'll want you to go through the video, which is already there in the MadeEasy YouTube channel. I'll give you even the precise timing from which minute to which minute you can go through to cover this aspect. And instead of doing that, we will try focusing more on the questions and the subjects and some of the difficult questions. Now, in this session, I will just give you a glimpse of what possibly can be the flow of questions with regard to the subjects. I'll try taking some examples from each of the branches of engineering that you have been shortlisted for. And then we'll take up from there, right? Generally, the opening question in a number of interviews can be, tell us something about yourself, or let us know something about you, or introduce yourself. It's the same question, but asked in 3 different forms, right? What is to be said? What is to be replied in response to this question, which is asked from you? I'm just giving the complete flow of contents. Take a look at it. At the top, I have written tell about your schooling followed by BTech degree. But don't say that, sir, I studied in XYZ senior secondary school till 8th class, and then I shifted to B school and then I shifted to C school for my 10th, 11th and 12th. No need. Just one liner. Sir, after completing my schooling from my hometown, which is Lucknow, I joined BTech in civil engineering at Institute of Engineering and Technology, Sitapur Road, Lucknow. I am not using IET Lucknow. Means I am not using an abbreviation for the first time. Subsequently, when I have to talk about my college, I'll use IEC at IET. There is no problem, right? So first line, so I completed my schooling from my hometown, which is Delhi, and then I joined Institute of Engineering and Technology, Lucknow, to pursue my BTech in civil engineering. So I completed my BTech in 2024 with an aggregate percentage of 81.6%. Or in case your institute gives you CGPA, which is out of 10, so my aggregate CGPA was 8.6. Now here, you can also add a line Sir, I was a merit scholar throughout my school and college education, if that is applicable. If that is applicable. Or you can say, sir, I was the recipient of merit scholarship for 6 out of 8 semesters during my BTech. इंडिविजुअल सेमेस्टर्स की डिटेल देने की जरूरत नहीं है. द थर्ड पॉइंट इज समर ट्रेनिंग एंड बीटेक प्रोजेक्ट. और समर ट्रेनिंग को मैंने लाल रंग से लिखा है. Now, naturally, red signifies danger. So if you have got no clue about your summer training, just silently skip it. Simply talk about your BTech project. पर BTech project के बारे में बताने का भी एक तरीका है. There is a way in which you have to be conveying about your BTech project. Don't say that, sir, my BTech project was about thermal power plant. It was about thermal power plant. What? What about thermal power plant? Did you make a cardboard model? Did you make a 3D model? Did you destroy a model which was there in your college lab? Did you make a picture of the thermal power plant? What exactly did you do as a part of your project scope of work? Right? It can be, again, it's an example, particularly for those people who were in the final year during the COVID period, which means the pass outs of 21 batch. Now, in their case, the practical experimental projects were almost not possible. So it had to be a theory project. So even if it was about thermal power plant, but you can always say, sir, my final year BTech project was a study project which required us to make a comparative study of the various cycles in thermal power plants. And when we talk about thermal power plants, obviously we are talking about 2 or 3 different different types of thermal power plants. We have the coal-based, that means steam turbine-based power plants. We have the gas turbine-based power plants. We have the combined cycle power plants, etc. Right? Again, with subtle variations. So that was the scope of your project. But now, if I were to tell the description of my project, I'm going to mention it in 2 parts. Sir, my final year BTech project was design, fabrication, and testing of digital tachometer. This is the first part. Remember, I have used the word design, fabrication, and testing. That means it was not just paper design. It also meant fabricating it. It also meant making the circuitry required for it. And after making the circuitry and after making the required gadgetry, then we had tested it and obviously demonstrated it in front of the external invigilators and so on. So first part is clear-cut title of the project. The second part is which was successfully completed as a member of 4-member project team. Now, this one sentence is a very important sentence because you have used, in the second part of the sentence, you have used some keywords. पहला कीवर्ड है सक्सेसफुल कंप्लीशन, दूसरा कीवर्ड है मेंबर ऑफ अ 4-member प्रोजेक्ट टीम. अब इन दोनों कीवर्ड से आपकी 2 स्ट्रेंथ्स आइडेंटिफाई हो रही है. 2 of your strengths are coming out based on this statement of yours. And which are these 2 strengths that we are talking about? Because you successfully completed, that means you are exhibiting problem solving skills. Now, on any given day, the best of places, your project guide is of very little help, except for putting the signature on the cover page of your project report. There is no other major help that comes from your project guide. If you run into any trouble, हाँ देख लो, study it, experiment करो, थोड़ा try करो, problem निकलेगा. But he will not get up from his chair and come to the lab with you and try to help you out with it. Never. Which means you only have to do the troubleshooting. You only have to identify the problem and then solve it yourself. So that is what gives you problem solving skills. The second thing which I said was you are a team player. You were a member of a 4 or a 5-member project team. That means the members of the team were working very cohesively. The entire project work could have been subdivided into 4 or 5 parts, and each of the members of the team would be responsible for taking care of the part assigned to him or her to the logical conclusion. And definitely that is something which is done practically by everyone. I'm sure some of you also must have done this. All right. In case you have done your master's, Then the same summary description. Sir, after completing my BTech, I pursued my MTech in RF and microwave engineering from IIT Kharagpur. Sir, I completed my MTech in the year 2024, and the title of my MTech thesis was XYZ. Now, in MTech, project work is done primarily independently. That means in-depth work has to be done by you as a part of your MTech project, right? In case you have work experience, you can give the details. Sir, after completing my BTech, I got an opportunity to work for 3 years with Shapoorji Pallonji, and I was posted at a high-rise building construction project. It was a residential project, G plus 23, being constructed in Baroda. Sufficient. उससे ज्यादा डिटेल वो लोग पूछेंगे. When they start asking you the details of the project, then be in a position to highlight that and articulate it for their experience. And then, if they want, they will go into more details of your project. Obviously, it was an observational training. No, but when you have work experience, obviously you were on ground, right? If you're an estimation engineer, obviously your work is primarily back office work. If you're a quality engineer, obviously again field testing is involved. If you are into contracts and agreements, then that means once again you have to have in-depth knowledge of the contracting nitty-gritties, etc. If you are a quality assurance engineer, then obviously a question can be, what is the difference between quality assurance and quality control? If you are in production department, again, the work related to production, meeting production targets and taking care of the manpower issues, etc., etc. Obviously, it can involve shift working also, right? Any extracurricular activities or co-curricular activities in which you are involved, you can mention that. If you are into sports, NCC or game, you can mention that. If there are any distinctive achievements, mention it. But be very brief. Be very, very brief. Don't, speak in the form of an essay. All right. Strengths and weaknesses only if they are asked. Strengths and weaknesses only if they're asked. Don't voluntarily talk about, sir, these are my strengths and these are my weaknesses. Or don't say that, sir, I have done my SWOT analysis. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. These are the opportunities that I see for myself in NPCIL. And these are the threats which I see when I join NPCL. Don't mention that. That will be like inviting trouble. All right. Family details have to come at the end. Don't start in the beginning. Sir, I belong to a farmer family. Well, they're not bothered. Don't try to gain sympathy by saying that I have rural background. They will not have any sympathy on that. And they will not give you any concessions also based on that. Right? So when you talk about your family, you just give the occupations. So my father is working in Nationalized Bank. Presently, he is heading the Lucknow Central branch of Union Bank of India. My mother is a housewife. I have a younger brother who is pursuing his BTech in computer science from NIT Allahabad. Sufficient. No details about your uncles and aunts and your politician cousins and things of that kind. No, nothing of that sort. As a matter of fact, to the extent possible, restrict or completely refrain from mentioning any connection with politics. Right? So far, so good. Moving further. I'm listing a list of questions which are non-technical questions. In fact, these are the questions where you'll find maximum difficulty in answering. Let me just list out the complete set of questions. Just read it carefully. Just read them carefully. And then we'll go back on one by one answering of these questions. I'm just leaving this slide on for you to see if right. So let's get going. Let's start looking at these questions one by one. Now, don't think that these questions are going to be asked from each one of you and they are going to be asked from you in this sequence only. No, not at all. Not at all. They are least likely to be asked from all of you. Maybe some of you might be asked one or two questions out of this lot of 10 or 12 questions that I have listed. So don't worry. But we'll try to answer each of these questions. The first question, why do you want to join NPCI? obviously there has to be a compelling reason for you wanting to join NPCI. Now, you are an electrical engineer, you are a mechanical engineer, you are a civil engineer, you are an instrumentation engineer. So, what motivates you to want to work in NPCI? Obviously, the real reason is very high pay package, uh, very less transfers, and well, the work is related to the branch of engineering that you have done. You are not going to be landing up in marketing or operations or maintaining a pipeline or a LPG depot or something like that, which might happen in case you go to IOCL. No. The key reason you want to work in NPCIL is that as an electrical engineer, you are going to be entrusted with a job which completely relates to electrical engineering. That means whatever you have studied, you get to utilize your domain knowledge. Again, with reference to the working in NPCIL. NPCIL is a power generating company. The only thing is that the power is generating using nuclear power. See, in case of a thermal power plant, we are burning coal or we are using gas for converting that thermal energy into electrical energy. In this case, we are using nuclear fission. And when there is a fission taking place, when the fission process takes place, it releases vast amount of energy. And that vast amount of energy can be used for converting water to steam, which will in turn run a steam turbine. A very rudimentary form. You would have probably studied this aspect when you were in school. That is in a very simplistic way. But once steam has been generated and it is used to run a steam turbine, and when the steam turbine is running, it's coupled to a alternator, and then the mechanical energy is getting converted into electrical energy. The generation is taking place at 11 kilovolts or whatever is the related voltage, and then from there it goes to a step-up transformer and then the jing bang. A lot of electrical equipments are involved. Alternator obviously is one equipment that I mentioned. Transformers of variety of types will be there. There'll be a lot of measuring instruments. There could be a lot of protection equipment. There could be switch gears. There could be circuit breakers. There could be isolators. There could be other protection equipment. There could be relays of various kinds. All those are electrical equipment. And as an electrical engineer, you get the opportunity of working on that. Likewise, when you are a mechanical engineer, you have the option of looking at the material handling equipment. There are a lot of pumps and compressors which will come into picture. Again, the installation, commissioning, and maintenance of such equipment. There could be heat exchangers. There could be other equipments. All the domain of mechanical engineers, making sure that there are no flaws, making sure that there are no breakdowns, there are no unplanned breakdowns, and so on. Incidentally, nuclear plants do not have a shutdown for a very, very long duration. In fact, some of the NPCIL units have had a record of continuous running for 900 days, 950 days, and so on and so forth. 900 days means almost 2.5 years without a shutdown. 950 days means getting closer to 3 years, right? These are the kind of world records which NPCIL units have established. But it does not happen without periodic, the preventive maintenance as per the schedules specified for the various subsystems, right? So you are getting an opportunity to work in the domain of your BTech degree. And that is what is the prime motivation for you to join this organization. Obviously, it's a government company, it's a PSU, and obviously the compensation package is very high. There are relatively less chances of transfers, right? So all these aspects are motivational reasons for you wanting to join this organization. The next question, why should we select you? Now, indirectly, this is a question which is asking you about your strengths. Typically, we start talking about our strengths. Sir, I'm honest, I'm hardworking, I'm punctual, I'm dedicated, etc. Well, everybody is hardworking, everybody is punctual, everybody is dedicated. So how are you different in comparison with these routine everybody? Here, the two strengths that we highlighted, your problem solving skills and you are a team player. So these two are the distinctive strengths that you have. You can say that, sir, I have problem solving skills and I am a team player. And then you can also add another one, that I plan my work meticulously, no compromise on qualitative goals, etc. etc. अपने वर्ड्स में इन कीवर्ड्स को यूज करके आप अपनी स्ट्रेंथ्स के बारे में बता सकते हो. सी पंक्चुअल, ऑनेस्ट, डेडिकेटेड, हार्ड वर्किंग, वो तो सारे ही होते हैं. Who will say that I am not punctual? Who will say that I am not honest? Everybody will say that I am honest. But distinctive, you can talk like that, right? Weaknesses, generally, nobody talks. Now, here, one more reason why you should be selected is that you are meeting the eligibility requirements. You are meeting the cutoff requirements from the gate score point of view, and the strengths that you are having, which are important for working in any large organization of the stature of NPCIL, right? Moving next, what do you expect will be a work profile? Barring civil engineers, the other three branches, when we talk about, that means electrical, mechanical, instrumentation, for these three branches, the major role that you will be performing will be in operations and maintenance, right? But obviously, if you are getting posted to the projects, to the nuclear power plants where there is construction going on, then obviously you are also a part of the installation and commissioning. So the keywords that you can remember are installation and commissioning, but that is applicable in case you get posted to the projects where there is expansion work going on. But the more important words are operation and maintenance, O&M. And when O&M comes into picture, then obviously you are liable to be posted to shift duties. Remember that first year at NPCIL is going to be in-depth training. And that is mandatory for everyone to undergo. And there will be regular tests which will get conducted to check whether you are moving in line with the expectations of the organization or not, right? So your the work profile primarily for civil, for electrical, mechanical, and instrumentation will be operation and maintenance, right? But for civil engineers, it can be project management. Civil engineers would be responsible for construction and maintenance of the civil engineering assets. In case of the expansion projects, obviously there will be construction activity, there will be other civil engineering related activity going on. So obviously civil engineers will be actively involved in that. But for other plants where the new construction is not taking place, where the expansion projects are not there, it will be routine maintenance work, which will be expected to be taken care by civil engineers, right? How will you contribute to our organization? You see, as a fresh engineer, what can you be contributing to the organization? See, the best way of making contribution to any organization as a startup, as a fresher, not startup, but as a fresher in that organization, is that you will want to complete the task given to you within the given time frame without any overrun on the resources that have been allotted. And what are the resources that are allotted to you? The resources which are allotted to you can be in multiple forms. It can be in the form of men, that means human resources. It can be in the form of materials. It can be in the form of machinery. And the best contribution that you can make is don't overrun in terms of these resources that are provided to you. And obviously, within the given time frame, without compromising on the quality. So timely completion of the task assigned to you without any compromise on quality is the biggest contribution that I expect to make. Obviously, I'll first have to learn the NPCIL way of working, and then only I'll be able to make contributions. Make a statement in that form. There is no problem. There is no problem. What's your career objective? Think a little. Career objective will have to be seen in two angles. You are an engineer, you want to make a career in the technical domain. Sir, as an electrical engineer, I want to make a career in the electrical engineering domain, for which NPCIL is one of the most suitable organizations. Fair enough? And ultimately, I would like to rise to the top of the ladder within NPCIL. That means मेरे को NPCIL छोड़ने का कोई इरादा नहीं है. मैं NPCIL में ही रहना चाहता हूं. And obviously, I'll keep climbing up the ladder. That means I'll keep on moving from one designation to higher designation as per the policies of the company. And ultimately, I would like to see myself as a member on the board of directors. It is possible. It is possible. It is not that it's a theoretical statement. It is very much possible. In fact, all the directors of NPCIL, they are all, they all started either from BARC as a scientific officer C, or they started as from NPCIL entry level positions, and they have been rising to the top of the ladder, right? Possible to be said. There are plenty of examples in almost every PSU. I mean, the one example which I normally give is of the organization with which I started my career. I started off in Bharat Electronics Limited, Bangalore, from 1st of December 1976. And I was there only for 3 years, short period of 3 years. And then I left and joined private sector organization in Delhi. Besides the point is, I was in the 76 batch. From the 77 batch of probationary engineers, there were 3 people I distinctly remember: SK Sharma, Amol Nevaskar, PC Jain, and Virender Handa. In fact, 4 people. All 4 of them were from the 77 batch of probationary engineers. SK Sharma was the CMD of the year at the time of his retirement. Amol Nevaskar was the director of other units. Handa was the director of Bangalore unit, and PC Jain was the director marketing. I have met 3 of these 4 people. SK Sharma was not in the same department. He was in the semiconductor division in BL, so I didn't get an opportunity to interact with him. But I had fairly frequent interactions with the other members, that is Amol, Virender Handa, and PC Jain. In fact, PC Jain I met 3-4 years back at the wedding of one of my colleagues, one of my batchmates' son, who was also in BL. The point is, it is possible to rise to the top of the ladder. In fact, one of my batchmates, he retired as the CMD of EIL, but he retired in the year 2015 after reaching the age of superannuation. AK Purwaha is his name. It's achievable, so it is no tall talk, right? What if you're not selected? It's a possibility. There could be any number of reasons. Maybe you missed the cutoff by just 1 mark. Possible that you don't get selected. Exhibit disappointment. Don't reply instantaneously, otherwise it will look as if you have mugged up the answer, right? Say that, sir, I'll be highly disappointed. And bring a look of disappointment on your face. थोड़ी रोनी सूरत बना लो, कोई नुकसान नहीं है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. Sir, I'll be highly disappointed. But sir, I'll make one more attempt to excel in GATE next year so that I can face the interview once again. But this is something which is possible to be said only if your age does not cross the limits that have been specified in terms of the advertisement. But बोल सकते हो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, right? But अगर आपकी age limit cross हो रही है, in that case, sir, I'll have to explore other opportunities in other PSUs. Make that statement. कोई दिक्कत नहीं. This is one question for which there will be a lot of trouble. But the answer is very simple. And the reason why I'm saying answer is very simple is, इसके लिए फेक आंसर मत देना, कोई कहानी उल्टी सीधी मत बना. State the way it is. If you are preparing after completing a BTech, exactly say the same thing. If you took a drop after 12th because you wanted to improve on your 12th board percentage, say that. If you did not appear in the engineering entrance in the year of completing your 12th, but you appeared next year, yes, you can say that. See, gap after 12th is much easier to explain. 1 year gap तो बहुत आसानी से बोल सकते हो, sir, I wanted to prepare for engineering entrance exam after completing my 12th class, and that is why I took a gap. Acceptable. No cross questioning. गैप अगर ज्यादा होता है तब थोड़ी सी क्रॉस क्वेश्चनिंग होती है, तब भी उसको जस्टिफाई कर दो, सर पहले साल मेरा 11th मेरा 12th का परसेंटेज बहुत कम था, तो उसको इम्प्रूव करने के लिए मैंने 12th में दोबारा अपियर हुआ, एंड देन आई टुक 1 more year टू प्रिपेयर फॉर इंजीनियरिंग एंट्रेंस एग्जाम, एंड फाइनली आई ज्वाइंड XYZ कॉलेज ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग। बोल सकते हो, कोई प्रॉब्लम। जिनका गैप 2 साल से ज्यादा है, वेल दे कैन इंडिविजुअली रेज हैंड आफ्टर द सेशन इज ओवर, एंड आई ट्राई गिविंग द आंसर्स टू योर क्वेश्चंस। Gap after BTech, which is more common. There can be 1 year gap, there can be 2 years gap, there can be 3 years gap. Not to worry. You completed your BTech in 2024 and we are right now in 2025. That means 1 year gap. Sir, after completing BTech, I started preparing for GATE and other competitive exams. Other competitive exams जरूर लिख देना क्योंकि GATE के through PSUs कम होते जा रहे हैं. Sir, I appeared for GATE in February 2025 and based on which I have been shortlisted for interview by NPCL. 1 साल का गैप, मान लीजिए आपका 2 साल का गैप है, इफ यू आर 2023 पास आउट एंड प्रेजेंटली वी आर इन 2025, again the same story, sir, after completing my BTech I started preparing for GATE and other competitive exams, but unfortunately I did not do well in the 2024 GATE, so I took 1 more year and continued my preparation, and I could gain significant progress. It's there for them to see. You can always tell them this was my score in GATE 2024 and this is my GATE score in 2025, but only if they ask you, right? 1 साल का गैप नो इश्यूज, 2 साल का गैप नो इश्यूज, 3 साल का गैप भी नो इश्यूज. Sir, I took longer than expected to reach the expected level of cut. Yeah, sir, in 2024 also I was shortlisted for interview by NPCIL, but unfortunately I could not make it to the finalist. प्लीज बोल दो, कोई नुकसान नहीं, वो रिकॉर्ड वेरीफाई करने नहीं जाएगा. 3 साल के लिए भी ऐसा बोल दो, बट फेक एक्सपीरियंस सर्टिफिकेट मत दे. मान लीजिए आपको लगता है कि फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन कमजोर है घर की, तो उस केस में आप बोल सकते हो सर साइमल्टेनियस विद माय प्रिपरेशन आई वाज आल्सो टेकिंग ट्यूशंस फॉर स्कूल चिल्ड्रन. कौन सी क्लास के बच्चों को पढ़ाते थे, व्हाट सब्जेक्ट्स वर यू टीचिंग टू दो स्कूल किड्स अराउंड यू? यस, यू कैन टेल, बट बी लिटिल प्रिपेयर्ड टू क्रॉस क्वेश्चन, राइट? डुएबल. कोशिश करना अपने वर्ड्स में इस आंसर को फ्रेम करना, गैप के बोलने की थोड़ा प्रैक्टिस कर लेना, एंड इट विल हेल्प यू अलॉट. अब एक नया सवाल आ गया, आपकी एकेडमिक परफॉर्मेंस बहुत इनकंसिस्टेंट है. इनकंसिस्टेंट किस तरह से है? मतलब आपका जो बीटेक परसेंटेज है वो सेमेस्टर टू सेमेस्टर ऊपर नीचे जा रहा है. इनफैक्ट जनरली क्या होता है कि फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर में परसेंटेज एकदम डिप करता है. और डिप क्यों करता है? क्योंकि कॉलेज में एडमिशन लिया, घर से दूर हॉस्टल में बैठे, और हॉस्टल में तो भाई पढ़ाई तो होती रहेगी, पहले तो लाइफ तो एंजॉय करें. That means you did not pay any attention to your studies. And as a result, your first semester's performance was very poor. अब उसका रिजल्ट आएगा फरवरी में. अब फरवरी में रिजल्ट आएगा तो झटका लगेगा. जब झटका लगेगा तो सेकंड सेमेस्टर की परफॉर्मेंस थोड़ी इंप्रूव हो जाएगी, और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे करके आपकी परफॉर्मेंस इंप्रूव होती रहेगी. मेंशन है, बट ये तो बोलेंगे नहीं कि आई वेंट berserk इन माय फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर, ऐसा तो नहीं बोलेंगे ना. आप तो ऐसा बोल सकते हैं, सर व्हेन आई ज्वाइंड कॉलेज द चेंज इन द मोड ऑफ टीचिंग आई टुक सम टाइम टू एडजस्ट टू दैट. या सर मैं हिंदी मीडियम से मेरी स्कूल की पढ़ाई हुई थी और यहाँ पे इंग्लिश मीडियम था, तो उसमें एडजस्ट करने में मेरे को थोड़ा टाइम लगा. तो फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर में मेरे को बहुत दिक्कत आया, बट आई स्लोली स्टार्टेड इंप्रूविंग फ्रॉम सेकेंड सेमेस्टर ऑनवर्ड विथ मच बेटर परफॉर्मेंस फ्रॉम फोर्थ सेमेस्टर ऑनवर्ड्स. बोल दीजिए, इट इज देयर फॉर देम टू सी, मार्कशीट्स हैं उनके पास, राइट? बट एक और कंडीशन आती है, देयर कैन बी वन मोर सिचुएशन. You had crossed path with one of the teachers in 7th semester, and that professor made sure that you do not get good score. He gave you a D. How do you justify getting that D? You can't say in the interview कि भाई मैंने तो एक प्रोफेसर के साथ पंगा लिया था. I had a fight with one of the professors because of which he penalized me. That you can't say in the interview. So what is the way out? Sir, on the day of my final exam in one subject, I had very high fever and I could not perform to the best of my capabilities. I could barely manage to pass. मेरी सप्ली नहीं आई, मेरा सप्लीमेंट्री नहीं आया, मेरे को री एग्जाम नहीं देना पड़ा, इतनी गनीमत है, बट मेरा स्कोर बहुत नीचे आया, जिसकी वजह से मेरी 7 सेमेस्टर की परफॉर्मेंस काफी सफर की. एक्सेप्टेबल, बट अगेन practice speaking it so that it does not look like a fibbed story. All right. Next, why did you not pursue MTech or why did you pursue MTech? आपका 3 साल का गैप है, आपने सोचा नहीं कि आपको MTech करना चाहिए था? Yes, sir, I gave it a thought. But then there was one factor which was not letting me go for MTech was that if I join MTech, that means I'll have to commit myself for 2 years. And I was not keen on committing for 2 years. Therefore, I continued to prepare for GATE and other competitive exams and did not join MTech. अब दूसरा सवाल आ गया, आपने MTech करा क्यों है? Sir, when I was appearing for GATE and other exams, I noticed that I was consistently getting low performance score in a few sections of the paper. So in order to strengthen my knowledge in those subjects, I decided to go for MTech. And I had a lot of benefit because of that. Simple answer. ना का भी आंसर है, हाँ का भी आंसर है. Why not private sector? Why only government job? Right? अब प्राइवेट सेक्टर में ना जाने का आपका एक कारण हो सकता है कि लॉन्ग वर्किंग आवर्स, लो सैलरी, राइट? ये तो बोलना नहीं है. सिंपली से सर, public sectors are large organizations with a lot of opportunities for me as an individual to make contributions to the organization. That is what is the major reason why I want to work in a government organization. There is complete transparency in the policies of a government organization. Plus, even the career progression is as per the plans outlined on the HR page of the organizations. There is nothing of that kind in private sector. As a matter of fact, when you join a private sector organization, the first thing that is told to you by HR is, do not discuss your compensation package with anybody. It is confidential. PSU में तो ऐसा कोई नहीं करता. It is an open book. Everybody joining on the 15th of July 2025 in NPCIL will be getting exactly the same salary. There will be not even 1 rupee difference in the salary received by any of the people who are joining on the same day in NPCIL as Scientific Officer C or whatever is the designation, which does not happen in case of private sector, right? Except in case of mass recruitment, where again the differences start cropping up from within 3 months onwards. And nobody knows how much is the increment being given to X, Y, Z. No, there is no transparency, right? If you're working and you left the organization, why did you leave your job? Don't say that I left because of low salary and long working hours and a khadus boss and so on and so forth. No. Sir, I joined the organization with the objective of financial support to my family, but with clear idea of preparing for GATE and other exams. Sir, after working for जो भी जितना भी ड्यूरेशन आपने काम किया, आपको लगा कि आप अपनी प्रिपरेशन पे फोकस नहीं कर पा रहे. Therefore, you decided to leave and focus on your preparation. Acceptable answer. Acceptable answer है. मान लीजिए आप आईटी कंपनी में काम कर रहे थे, आप इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर हैं, बट यू आर वर्किंग इन ए सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट डोमेन. आपने ज्वाइन क्यों किया जब आपको पता था कि इसमें तो आपके मतलब का काम ही नहीं होने वाला? सर, माय फाइनेंशियल रिक्वायरमेंट्स made me take up any job that came my way. And because this was the only opportunity I got, therefore I joined the IT company. But then over a period of time, I started creating some financial reserve and support for my family. Therefore, I decided finally to leave and focus on my work. आपने 6 महीने एक आईटी कंपनी में काम किया, एक कंसल्टिंग कंपनी में काम किया या ट्रेडिंग कंपनी में काम किया, उसके बाद छोड़ दिया. पैसे तो बहुत मिल रहे थे. Yes, sir, no doubt I was getting very high salary. And I knew that the work does not relate with my field of work. But I thought that along with my work, I'll be able to continue with my preparation. which did not happen. So finally, I decided to give up on the lucrative financial package of the company and focus only for my preparation. आपने बोलना है, justification देनी है, अपने words में justify करना है. That's it, right? What if NPCIL get privatized? Actually, NPCIL के privatize होने का कोई scope है ही नहीं है. Because this is one domain, this is one field where there is no privatization. There can be partial disinvestment, but privatization will never happen. ONGC can never get privatized. HPCL can never get privatized. BPCL will never get privatized. Equity participation of the government may reduce to 51%, but private ownership chances zero. Even if the organization get privatized, the nature of business will not undergo a change. And the immense experience that I would have gained by working in NPCIL would be fully utilized by whosoever assumes the ownership of the company. Simple enough. आपकी जॉब पे थोड़ी खतरा है. खतरा उन लोगों के लिए who are incompetent. That's for sure. Right? There can be a question, why not engineering services? और ये भी पूछ सकते हैं कि क्या आपने इंजीनियरिंग सर्विसेज का एग्जाम दिया है? Yes, sir, I have appeared. So then why don't you focus on that? Sir, appearing for engineering services exams is with the objective of evaluating my relative performance in comparison with other students. Because GATE or engineering services exam, though exams are always conducted with regularity. So it is a way of judging my state of readiness, not with the objective of going in for a job based on ESC. But why not ESC? Sir, I believe that ESC jobs are more to do with planning and monitoring of the progress, whereas PSUs are more focused on execution work, and I'm more keen to use my technical knowledge for execution work rather than be in the policy framing and monitoring organization. That's the reason why I'm more keen to work in a PSU rather than in the policy framing work. It can be said. It can be said. There is nothing wrong with it. See, if you take a look at it, just giving you an example of Indian Railways, the execution of the projects, whether it is broad gauging, whether it is laying a new line, whether it is refurbishing an existing line, all these works are being done by an organization called Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, RVNL. RVNL is a PSU, which is promoted by Ministry of Railways, right? And it's a listed company. कुछ उसकी equity को dilute भी किया है. Government of India does not own 100% of the equity of RVNL, but it is the execution arm for the projects. जो bullet train है, which is being set up between Ahmedabad and Mumbai, it is again by way of an organization, a special purpose vehicle, SPV as we call it, by the name High Speed Rail Link. That's the organization which is executing the work. Railways is not executing. The SPV of Railways, High Speed Rail Link Corporation, they are doing the execution work, right? There are a number of such PSUs which are engaged in the execution work. NHAI is the execution arm for the construction of roads. The design, the planning part and the monitoring part is done by Ministry of Surface Transport. But the CES roads is responsible for the planning and the monitoring of the progress work of road construction, highway construction. But the execution work is done by National Highway Authority, right? Okay. So far, this part, it was an important part. So this is part one of our discussion. The next part we are going to talk about is the list of preferred subjects. And when I talk about preferred subjects, obviously I'll try to run through some examples of the questions which you may be asked. Maybe I'll share those, the transcripts of the 2-3 students which I have got, and I'll share it. I'll show it to you on the screen. All these things I'll be sharing it putting it in the shared folder, the link for which you will receive tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. All right. Let's look at the subjects. For electronics, what are the preferred subjects? You can let me do a little bit of reshuffling here. control systems, very important. Then I'll put analog electronics and digital electronics, right? I'm putting EDC at the end. The reason why I'm putting EDC at the end is the application of EDC could be in the form of analog electronics, the design of the amplifiers and other such related equipment. Digital electronics can be important. Communication again can be important. And then I'm also going to put measurement and network higher. Let me push measurements maybe here. So you can prepare the top 4 subjects. Maybe you can prepare analog and digital electronics, measurements, communication theory. That's enough for EC. The questions can be related to control systems, the different types of stability criteria, right? What is an open loop control system? What is a closed loop control system, right? Maybe examples of open loop control system. This room in which you are sitting, can you identify any open loop control system? Maybe the fan itself is an example of an open loop control system, right? The air conditioner, which is there in the room, is obviously an example of a closed loop control system because there is a feedback mechanism coming into picture. Whatever I'm talking about are also connected with the questions that may be asked from you, right? Digital electronics, if I say, again, for example, maybe they talk about multiplexer, maybe they talk about, flip-flops. There are multiple types of flip-flops that you might have come across. You have RS flip-flop, you have D flip-flop, you have T toggle flip-flop, and any other thing. Where are they used? What is the application, right? Then there can be questions related to combinational circuits or sequential circuits. What is the fundamental difference between these two? Where are they likely to be deployed in the context of NPCIL? There's a lot of control circuitry is there, right? The monitoring of the parameters is in the central control room, and that is always by way of monitoring of the parameters reaching to the central control room and getting displayed on the control panel. The corrective action being initiated sitting in the control room. Again, a lot of electronic circuitry is involved. There could be communication circuitry, there could be design circuitry, there could be digital circuits which would be coming into picture, right? Instrumentation related activities obviously will be there. We'll take a look at the subjects for instrumentation also now in a while. Mechanical engineers. SOM obviously is important whether you state it or not. FM, fluid mechanics and machinery. And when we say machinery, we are talking about pumps, compressors, turbines, steam turbine primarily. Thermodynamics is important. Basic thermodynamics is how you would state it. Heat transfer is important. I'm removing engineering mathematics here. No, I'm not leaving engineering mathematics here. But engineering mechanics can be stated as one of the subjects, right? IC engines, power plant engineering can be stated. Power plant engineering can be stated. Let me write it here so that it does not get crossed. Right? This can be a subject. Okay. Material science, obviously, if you are well prepared, you can definitely talk about it. You can definitely talk about it. Just to give an idea about questions related to pumps, what is the difference between propeller and an impeller, right? What is the requirement of, why do we do priming? What is the importance of priming in case of pumps, right? What about increasing the performance levels of pumps? Can we put pumps in sequence? Can we put pumps in parallel? What is the advantage that we get by putting pumps in series or in parallel, right? Then if we are talking about fluid mechanics, there could be questions related to Bernoulli's theorem. There could be questions related to Bernoulli's principle, right? There could even be questions related to buoyancy. I'm talking of very simple ones. Thermodynamics could lead to asking you questions on the various laws of thermodynamics and its practical applications. Heat transfer, heat exchangers, material used for making heat exchangers, the different types of heat exchangers, the relative merits and demerits of using a particular type of a heat exchanger. All these aspects come into picture. All these aspects come into picture, right? And if you have some idea about the critical materials in nuclear power plant, like what are the materials which are used for saving from nuclear radiations. Boron is one of the elements which is used, right? Then possibly the lead and cadmium rods are used. Okay. How do you suspend the fission activity? Again, that is not your domain. That is a subject that's a question which can be asked from chemical engineers, because they are expected to have a good handle on the operational aspects of a nuclear power plant, right? For civil engineers, SOM, besides the point, obviously, even if you don't tell, CPM is very important for NPCL. Then you can prepare fluid mechanics or hydrostatics. Soil mechanics can be prepared. Now, soil mechanics and geotech would be relevant for new projects which are under construction, right? Or projects under planning. Okay. Then building materials, obviously building material को थोड़ा ऊपर रख सकते हैं. The point is, whatever subject you say, they can ask questions from that. And in the end, I have already written, you can avoid mentioning irrigation, hydrology, rock engineering, highway engineering, and transportation engineering as your preferred subjects. The reason, they don't relate with the working of NPCIL. That's the only reason why these are to be avoided. Instrumentation, obviously, process control instrumentation or industrial instrumentation becomes the most important subject to be prepared. Sensors and transducers, naturally, you have to have knowledge. Control valves must be prepared in thorough details. Control system or control engineering can be prepared as a subject. Knowledge about PID diagrams, measurements as a subject is important. Analog and digital electronics can be prepared. I won't go for engineering mathematics. I'm removing it. See, I have written the name of a book, Lessons in Industrial Instrumentation by Tony Kupphard. It is a kind of a Bible on anything to do with instrumentation. Believe me. This is a book which is available on the net in pdfdrive.com. You can search for this and get it from internet itself. It's a thick, fat book, maybe about 3,000 odd pages, but very elaborately designed. You need not read the entire book, just locate the chapter and the topic for which you want to know, and it will have everything that you're looking for. Believe me, it's an excellent reference book. All right. For electrical engineers, the subjects that can be prepared, obviously electrical machines is very important, including transformers, alternators, different types of motors, synchro machines, power electronics, control systems as a subject is important. Power system as a subject obviously is important. And here in this case, generation and distribution would be coming into picture rather than the transmission part, right? If nothing else, if you want to drop any subject out of these, then possibly you can go for measurements or network. But analog electronics and EMT would really be coming at a distant end, not really in the preferred list of subjects. Let me put it at the down, right? A quick word about the name of the present CMD. It is Mr. Bhuvan Chandra Pathak. He is the chairman and managing director of NPCIL. The names of other directors are given, but you don't have to remember. Just remember the name of Mr. Bhuvan Chandra Pathak, who is the CMD, and he is the CMD now, I think, for the last 3-4 years. I don't remember the exact date when he assumed charge as the chairman and managing director, right? This is the list of the various operating power stations of NPCIL. If you notice that there are 4 units in Tarapur, which is in Maharashtra, 2 units of 160 and 2 units of 540, making a total of 1400 megawatts installed capacity in Tarapur. You see, if you remember, while entering your preference, you were asked to give a preference either for PHWR or the other one was VVER. So now you realize what is the importance. It is going to decide the location of posting for you. For civil engineers, this option was not there. Right? Obviously, it doesn't relate to that. Then in Rajasthan, Unit 1 I have deleted because that has been shut down completely. So Unit 2 is a 200 megawatt unit, which is old enough, which started operating in the year 1981. We visited RAPP as students of third year way back in 1974. We went on a day-long trip to Kota. We stopped over at Jaipur and then we went to Kota for a visit to RAPP. Right? At that time, this unit as well as Unit 1 was under commissioning. It was not operational, but it was under installation and commissioning. Right? There are 3 units of 220 megawatts each as displayed on this page. And then there is the fourth also. That means there are 4 units of 220, 1 unit of 200 makes it 1080 megawatts, plus the seventh unit of 700 megawatts, which has started operating from March 17th, 2025, barely 2 months back. The Madras Atomic Power Station, which is in Kalapakkam, it has 2 units of 220 megawatts each. The Kaiga nuclear power station in Karnataka has got 4 units of 220 megawatts each. That means 880 installed capacity. In Kundankulam nuclear power station in Tamil Nadu, we have 2 operational units of 1000 megawatts each, making it total of 2000 megawatt, right? It's a PWR variety of unit. Narora in UP, there are 2 units which are operational, 220 megawatts each, and it is obviously under expansion. This Kakrapar, which is in Gujarat, has 2 units of 220 megawatts and 2 units of 700 megawatts, making it a total of 440 plus 1400, making it 1840 megawatts. The total installed capacity of the nuclear power plants operational as on date is 8,780 megawatts, right? 8780, which is a very small capacity. But then a lot of new projects are under construction. Like, for example, 2 units of 700 megawatt each at Kota, out of which one is already operational now. So it is Unit 8. That means 700 megawatt expansion is in progress on in case of the RAPP Kota, right? And then Unit 8 is in advanced stages of commissioning. 2 units are under construction at Kundankulam in Tamil Nadu. Each of these is a 1000 megawatt unit. That means 2000 megawatt is going to be added to the capacity of Kundankulam in Tamil Nadu, right? The progress has been mentioned by way of the last 2 points. Unit 3, the major milestones of construction of inner containment dome and the concreting of outer containment dome and major main coolant pipeline welding are completed. In case of the fourth unit, the inner containment dome is in progress, and then the nuclear steam supply system is completed, and hydrotechnical structure is in advanced stage of completion. Right? This was a very quick brief about NPCIL. I'll be including the annual report of NPCIL in the documents, which I'm going to be sharing it with you. You don't have to read the entire annual report, just read the chairman's report, which will give you some salient features, salient highlights of what are the items which are in progress at this place. I had mentioned that hobbies are not so important, but I'll just run through a video on hobbies. Maybe it's a 15-20 minute video. I'll just run through it and then we'll take up more questions on that, right? But before I go to hobbies, let me also take up the feedback which we have received from some of the students, in terms of they have shared their interview experience, which I'll just share it with you by sharing the screen. These are the 3 feedbacks. One of them is mechanical engineer. He was interviewed at Narora Atomic Power Station in August 2021. The strength of the panel is 7-8 members, right? He was an 2019 pass out, so obviously there were 2 years gap. What subjects have you prepared? He gave the list of subjects as thermodynamics, heat transfer, power plant, IC engines, and strength of material. And then, they started asking him about pressure vessel, the design of pressure vessel, how will you manufacture it? They asked him about Titanic ship, despite the fact that it was designed for every condition and it was declared initially by its owner that ship will never sink, still it did. Why did it happen? Obviously, you will be able to answer only if you have watched the movie Titanic and you were aware of the reasons for its submersion. What aspects had the designers missed while making it, which led to the tragedy of the ship sinking, right? The ship got broken into two parts. The reason for its breaking into two parts, but possible to be answered only if you are aware. Otherwise, you will have to say, sorry, sir, I don't know. Okay. Then there were questions about unbalanced forces. What do we do to counter it? And is there any unbalanced force acting on the piston? Now it is getting connected with the piston, right? What is hammer blow? What is swing couple? Explain it. Firing order in case of a engine. What is why are we firing the cylinders in a particular order, right? In case some of you have done their internship at the diesel locomotive workshop, then one question which possibly will be asked will be, have you seen the shape of the engine block? The shape of a diesel engine block for locomotive works it's in the form of a V. And again, the cylinders are not fired in sequence. They are firing alternately. The reason for alternate firing of cylinders, what can be the possible reason? Obviously, to make it balanced, to reduce the vibrations, right? Then there were some questions related to the lathe. Is it a machine or is it a machine tool? That's a question which I would ask from you, right? How will you design a metal cube? What is shaper? Now shaper and planer are the machines which are used for performing machining operations, right? What is the difference between the two? Where do we use them? How the intricate designs are made, right? Then there were some questions asked in the iron carbon diagram. What are eutectic points and eutectoid points? Right? This student did not talk about material science, but still they went to iron carbon diagram, which means important, even if you don't mention material science as one of your subjects, right? Now this is a candidate from electrical engineering background, and he was from Kanyakumari. His interview was at Kalpakkam, which is near Chennai, right? He was currently doing MS in IIT Madras. And then most of his questions went to the title of his project work, which is power quality, right? Microgrid. They focused on microgrid, even though he was not studying microgrid. And then they started asking questions related to microgrid. He was prepared. He had studied about it, so he didn't have any issue. Then there were questions related to harmonics, induction machines, transformers, power electronics, answered every question. But then three-phase induction motor, if one of the phases is cut, what happens to the motor, right? My suggestion is be very fully prepared for facing questions related to protection equipment of all kinds, right? It will be very important. Know about different types of relays, know about different types of transformers, know about the protective mechanisms for transformers, right? If you talk about transformer oil, what is the reason why the transformer oil is put? What is the objective of putting transformer oil? Obviously, it is with multiple objectives. One of the objective is to act as a coolant, right? Can we use coconut oil as transformer oil? Think over it, you will get the answer. The answer is yes, it's possible to be used. Why we don't use it is because of the economies. It's expensive, right? They'll give you time to think for the answers, right? Rapid fire is relatively less in this case. Okay. Then we have another electrical engineer from NPCIL whose experience is shared here. He says the duration was 40 minutes, whereas the average time of the students on that day was 25 to 30 minutes, right? And there were no questions from project and training. Only a short intro was asked. 8 members, including the chairman. 38 questions in the 40 minutes of interview duration, and 35 he answered properly and was satisfied. I think he got selected also. The sequence of questions were from 4 subjects: power systems, network theory, machines, and power electronics. These were the 4 subjects that he had mentioned he has prepared, and they asked him questions with regard to that. Protection, fault monitoring, fault detection, and rectification, right? Types of relays, very important. Types of relays will be very, very important to be prepared, right? Second half, he says he was very, very tense and they started asking rapidly and fumbling in 2 or 3 cases. But they asked him about thyristor protection, which he was probably not aware, but doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter, even if you don't know the answer, right? Just a glimpse, just a glimpse. Then maybe there are some more which I am not able to locate at this point, but that's it, right? Let me close this. Some more questions, some more aspects I'm going to be sharing. Some aspects related to the form, but before that, let me come to the application, the call letter that you have received. Now, this is from a student who sent me the call letter last year. Maybe it's unchanged because the signature are of the same person in this year also. Let me see who has signed this. I think Mohammad Riaz is a signatory this year also for your call letter. The reason why I'm bringing it in front of you is to take a look at the documents which have to be brought by you, the online application form duly filled in, then the personal data form PDF version available on the website for download. This was where number of students had mentioned they were not able to find it. In case some of you had find it, I'll be happy if you can share it with me also. In case of candidates belonging to a particular category, then the valid category certificate must be there with you. OBC candidates should have a valid certificate. This is referring to 2024. Therefore, this date will get modified. And let me just do one thing. I'll just mark it. Here it will be 1/4/2025. It's already mentioned. It's already mentioned in your call letter. So because it is old one, that's why it's 24. This will become 25. Okay. EWS, again, it should be valid for the year 25-26, not 24-25. Again, it would be highlighted in your call letter. Please take a look at it so that you are clearly aware of it. PWD category candidates must have a valid PWD certificate issued by the authorized signatory, right? Ex-servicemen, again, as applicable. In case you have changed your name, in case there is a change of name, then you must have the 10th class certificate, 12th class certificate, mark sheet, degree, final degree. If it is not available, if you are a final year student, then all the mark sheet of the BTech up to 7th semester must be carried by you. If the final degree is not issued, then the provisional degree should be carried. CGPA to percentage conversion authorized declaration form from the website or authorized signatory of your university or institute, right? They want NOC from people who are working in a government organization in central, state, PSU, aided institution. They must bring NOC. Otherwise, they will not be allowed to appear for the interview and no traveling expenses will be reimbursed to them. One latest identity card size photograph must be carried. Please look at the latest call letter in case there is any change in this. The most important, I had stated it right in the beginning. Applicants appearing for interview will have the choice of answering the questions either in Hindi or English. No issues on that. Just relax. Just relax. Okay. You are expected to carry all the documents which have been mentioned. Otherwise, you may not be permitted. Okay. Reimbursement form should be filled up duly. Bank account details have to be furnished. You must have a cancelled check leaf or the first page of your passbook, which clearly carries your name, the name of the branch, the IFSC code of the branch, and the full account number, without which you will not receive the reimbursement, right? I guess that's it. And then, of course, there are locations where the interviews are going to get conducted. The pickup details are available. I had shared the link in the Telegram groups also, from where you can get the details of the pickup point for the various locations for the interview. That means Kaiga in Karnataka, then Tamil Nadu, the Kalapakkam, then Arora in UP. They have provided for pickup points. So go through it and take advantage, right? That's it. This is as far as the call letter is concerned. Uh, some important points about the NPCL form and bond. Now, this coming into picture more after the selection is over. The biodata form, which I was talking about, I have the 2020 version. Um, in case any of you has the 25 version, please share it with me. The content is not likely to be different. I think the only change that they will make will be on the first page at this point. Instead of 2020, they will write it as 2025, the advertisement reference number. That's about it. That's about it. Let me just remove that also, because that is not really applicable now. Okay, that's it. And before I throw open the opportunity for you to ask me questions, I'll quickly run through the hobbies part, because that's something which will be needed for a logical completion of the session.